So you take all your leaves like this, keep that nice stem on there, lay them all together flat, or as close as you can get to flat, like we have here. Then you want to take them. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic day. It is Wednesday, November 9th here in South Georgia, and we're patiently waiting the storm to come through and bring us some much needed rain in the next couple days. And seeing that it's probably going to rain the next couple days, got a little bit of harvesting I need to do here in the raised bed garden, so I want to take you around, show you how some of those things are growing. We're going to pick a few things for supper tonight, a few things for supper probably tomorrow night, and then I want to go over there to our turmeric patch and check on it a little bit. We're getting pretty close to our first frost date, our average first frost date towards the end of November, and the turmeric should be kind of wrapping up. So we want to pull up a couple plants and see if it's ready or not. But before we get started here behind me, let me tell you something I recently discovered about myself. So you know how some people collect things, or they have a lot more of a particular item than they're ever going to need. A lot of people collect knives, guns, things like that, and they have way more knives or guns than they could ever use. Well, I have a few knives, but pretty much stick with my one Benchmade knife here. That's pretty much the only one I ever use. But I've recently discovered that I have a thing for pruners. Any kind of pruner that can be used in the garden. And I've got way more than I need, but if I see some that I don't have that I kind of like the looks of, I got to give them a try. So recently I've been walking around wearing two different sets of pruners on my hip here, just to be prepared for any type of situation out here in the garden. It's been especially useful since I've been doing a lot of fig propagation lately, having pruners on me at all times. So a few weeks ago I was online and found these rascals right here. So these are some Felco pruners. These are called anvil pruners, and these work really good for taking fig cuttings. Work a lot better than your standard Felco pruner. So that's an anvil pruner. It's got a little bigger blade on it, a little heavier duty pruner there, and I can cut through some pretty thick fig branches with this one. So I've really been liking this one here. And then recently I picked up these little snips right here. I really like these for cutting okra, cutting little stuff in the garden, just doing little harvesting where you need something a little better than a knife to cut it, where you want a more clean cut. So these have been my two cutting tools of choice of late. And like I said, got way more pruning shears than I can ever use. I don't really have trouble keeping up with them. I keep them all in my buggy in my little box there, but sometimes I do swap out which ones I'm wearing on my hip. So that's the current situation of having more than I need of a particular item. And if you are like that about any particular thing, especially something that you use in the garden, let me know about it in the comments below. But now let's get to taking a look at these raised beds here and seeing what we can pick for supper. So we'll start out with our round raised beds here, which we have 4. Nothing we can really snag in that one at the moment. We got watermelon radishes in there. Might need to do a little weeding in there. Got some of those we replanted, starting to pop now. Nothing really to harvest in this one. That Swiss chard isn't quite big enough to start picking, but maybe in another few weeks we can start scavenging some of that. Nothing really to get over here quite yet. We could get a little bit of parsley there if we needed it, but I can't think of anything I need to use parsley on at the moment. Celery's looking real good, but going to be a little while before we can pluck any stalks off of those plants. And then over in this last round raised bed, we got spinach filling in nicely here. Still a ways to go before we harvest any of that. Over on the end there, we got a little bit of a fire ant problem. It's the only bed where I've seen them so far. Well, I'm gonna have to take care of that. I've got some bait I can use. I've also heard of people using grits, so we may try that, but we need to take care of that because they're starting to cover up my spinach. In our parsnip bed here, where we learned a valuable lesson about using old parsnip seeds, still haven't replanted this. I did get more seeds in the mail yesterday. We're gonna wait till Nicole comes through here before we plant anymore, because she might wash them all away. So once this storm is through here, we'll replant this and hopefully have a nice full bed of parsnips eventually. And then for our 2 carrot beds here, our purple carrots and our yellow carrots are looking pretty dang good. Purple carrots germinate a lot better than the yellow carrots for some reason. But I still think we're gonna get a bunch of carrots out of this long skinny bed. And then over here in this bed, we had to do some replanting. And those that we replanted, as we can see right there, have started to come up. So hopefully that will work to fill in those gaps there. And this will soon start looking like that other carrot bed. So that was all stuff that we direct seeded, and we're still waiting on. Some of that stuff won't be ready till early next year. But in the back half of this raised bed plot where we transplanted everything, and that's where we're really starting to get some good groceries. And today is a big day when I think I'm going to get my first mess of collards from this raised bed right here. Now you might recall several videos ago we had to address a little pest problem we were seeing in here. We were starting to see a few little holes in the leaves like that one right there. So we took some of that Azera and took care of that problem. Sprayed, I don't know, it's about a week or 2 ago now. And as you can see, haven't had any more issues. All these leaves are looking nice and clean and pretty. And man, these things are growing super, super fast. All right, let's see if we can get us a mess of collards out of here. Now, when you pick your collards for the first time, you got to be a little careful because the stem isn't real strong and sturdy quite yet. It'll thicken up over time, and then you can really just kind of go through here and rip them off. But got to be a little careful initially. We don't want to uproot our collards. We're going to make sure we get all these bottom leaves here. And how many leaves you take is up to you, but you definitely want to leave a few up there. I like to pick mine off about like that. I could get that leaf right there, but I believe I'm going to leave it for another day. And I was a little curious if 8 collard plants was going to be enough for us, because I'm used to planting a whole 30-foot row, but I think this is going to be a plenty. I think we're going to get a really good mess just off these 8 plants here. You can see there I already got a handful just off 3 plants. Now what I'll do here, so these will fit in my bag a little easier, I'll cut off the ends of those stems just a little bit there, like that, and then grab me one of my bags. I can put them down in there a lot easier, and those stems won't be poking holes through my bag, because we ain't going to eat these tonight. I think we're going to have tacos tonight. We're going to eat these tomorrow night. Alright, so we got several full bags there. That'll make a nice mess for us. And this time of year, when the fall garden is in full swing, if you ain't eating greens at least once a week, you ain't living right. Now, with all this stuff coming in like it is, even just in this raised bed garden, I'll be eating greens probably 2 to 3 times a week over the next 2 months or so. But I'd say you at least need to be eating greens once a week. Now, for those of you who've been eating greens all your life, you probably already know this, but let me show you a little trick, easy way to cut these up so you can get them in the pot and get them cooking. So you take all your leaves like this, keep that nice stem on there, lay them all together flat, or as close as you can get to flat, like we have here. Then you want to take them and you just want to roll them up. So roll a handful or so together, just like that. Then take your knife and just make little thin slices all along here. Don't throw away those stems, that's good eating too. Just cut all along there, and then you can come back and cut them this way into smaller little strips there. You can cut up a whole mess of collards real quick like that way. Throw them in the pot, put a little bacon grease, a little neck bone in there, whatever, and you'll be good to go. Alright, so we got what we needed off that bed there, and those things will grow back in no time. Probably have another good mess before Thanksgiving rolls around. Over here in this bed with the kale, I don't think there's anything I'm going to pick in here today. We did eat some good kale soup the other night with some of this kale in here. That there needs to be picked again. That stuff is growing really, really fast, that darker board kale. But the thing I'm going to hold off on the kale, probably eat some more kale early next week. Now this next bed here doesn't have a whole lot of what I'd call get you full groceries. but I really like how it has turned out, and everything in it just looks really green and healthy and lush. So we got some zinnias over here that just started blooming. Got 2 colors we planted, lime and then lilac there, and I don't think I've ever grown the lilac before, but I like the looks of those. All that basil there is looking really, really good. About time to make some pesto and make some margarita pizza with some of that basil there. Dill's just looking awesome. Probably going to be putting together some deviled eggs with some of that pretty soon. And then right here, I think this is the best looking cilantro I have ever grown, and I love cilantro, so we're gonna get some of that tonight for our tacos. You know, cilantro is one of those things, you either love it or you hate it, and I happen to love it. A lot of people say it tastes like soap, and I'm a firm believer there's no such thing as too much cilantro. On fajitas, tacos, anything like that, guacamole, you just put as much as you can put in there. So I'm gonna take one of my mini pair of pruning shears here, and we're gonna get us a nice big bunch of it tonight. Man, I love the way that stuff smells there. So I think that right there ought to be enough for tonight. We'll put that in our bag here. Keep it protected till we get it inside and can chop it up a little bit. And we'll keep moving along. Now our next bed here is what gave us our first mess of greens for the fall, with these rutabaga greens right here. And as you can see, they have already grown back. We could harvest these things again if we wanted to. I think I may wait until next week to harvest them a second time. Still a long ways to go before we get any big rutabagas. We can see they're getting a little bigger down there. Still a long ways to go. The way these things are growing, shoot, we may get 4 or 5 cuttings of greens off these before we pull up those rutabagas. And then we got our red cabbage back here, which is a long way from even starting to form heads. The plants are looking really nice and healthy and filling in those gaps well. Now in this bed here, we got lots of beautiful lettuce. It's growing really fast. So we got our butterhead lettuce, our oak leaf lettuce, this muir leaf lettuce, romaine lettuce, and then the Cherokee lettuce over there. And this stuff has been loving these days we've been having in the low 80s. Been keeping the water of this stuff, and it's growing really fast and responding well. Not going to take a whole lot from this, but I would like to have a little bit of this lettuce for my tacos tonight. So we're just going to pluck a few leaves like that here and there, get us a little mess, maybe get a little butterhead here, just enough to put on our tacos. All right. That should be enough right there. So we didn't rob a whole lot, just got that much, which should be enough for tonight. Now the rest of these, we're planning on letting the heads get pretty big before we harvest them, but what I may do in the next couple of weeks, once some of these heads get about, I don't know, 2 to 3 times the size they are now, but not quite as big as they're going to get, I may come in here and cut every other one to give some of these others a little more space. So like this guy right here, when it grows about 2 to 3 times the size it is now, just come in here, cut it out. Same thing with this one, and then let these right here get full size. That way we have a constant supply of lettuce. We'll just kind of pick out a few heads here and there as it matures and eventually end up eating it all. And then in our last bed here, we're gonna have lots of good greens coming out here pretty soon. We could harvest this stuff right now if we wanted to. If we didn't have any other greens producing, we could certainly eat that Savannah mustard there right at that leaf size, and it would keep growing back. We could also get some of that pak choi there, little baby pak choi. We could get some of those, cut those whole heads, or just pluck a couple leaves off those. But I think we're going to leave this for at least another week or so, and then we'll harvest a nice mess out of here. That Azera treatment that we put on these about a week and a half or so ago has really helped, because the pak choi and the Savannah mustard usually gets tore up pretty good around here, but I don't see really any damage yet. Everything's just looking nice and pretty and green, and gonna be a lot of good groceries right there. So as you can see there, with the exception of a few direct seeding issues, most everything in that raised bed plot is doing really well. Really happy with how everything is growing, looking, and tasting. coming out of there, and it seems like just a few weeks ago we were putting screws in those things and putting them together. It's crazy to think back how fast it all came together and what we're able to get out of it now. So now let's mosey on over there to where that turmeric is and pull up a couple of those plants, see if there's anything underneath there. But before we get over there, give you a couple updates here. So this is that cool season soil builder mix we planted several videos ago. Nice cover crop with all kind of different things in it, and as you can see here, it came up really nicely. We planted it thick, used about 20-25 pounds of seed out here. I'm really happy with the coverage there. It popped up, I'd say, in about 4 days after we gave it a couple nice showers with the overhead sprinkler, and it's starting to fill in really nicely, fill in those gaps, keep any of those cool season weeds from thriving. And then right behind that, we've got our seed crop of Ruiz okra here, and as you can see, still getting lots of good pod production. Got a lot of flowers out there, still producing lots of okra pods, even with some of these cooler nights we've been having. So we're just letting these larger pods here mature on the stalk so we can eventually harvest the seeds out of them. That's about as big as they get. You just let them go and they'll get to about that size, or maybe a little bigger. But it looks like we're going to have a lot of good seed coming out of here. So we're just going to let these do their thing. I do need to get in here and weed between these rows. I've kind of neglected this a little bit. Got some dreaded chickweed popping up in there. Need to get in here and wheel hoe this because I'm going to be planting a mustard cover crop in here pretty soon. Going to plant it on that area over there, that kind of open area, and then kind of plant it in between all these okra plants because we're not going to be in here stomping around any. We're just going to wait till these pods mature and come and get them all at one time. And finally, back over here to where our 40-foot turmeric row sits, you can see that a lot of the leaves on those are starting to yellow pretty significantly. Now initially I was thinking, man, I must be giving these things too much water. I was pouring the water to them through the drip tape that's underneath there, especially since it's been so dry around here, and then they got a good bit of water when I was trying to get this cover crop here to germinate. So I thought, well, maybe I've given them too much water. Sometimes that can cause leaves to yellow. But then I got to thinking back last year when we did the turmeric grow out in the little fire ring raised bed over there, what happened, and seems to be just kind of the natural process of the turmeric. As it gets closer to being ready to be dug, the leaves turn yellow, so that's kind of a sign that tells you, hey, might be need to get your shovel ready because I'm going to need to be dug soon. So let's see if we can scratch around on a few of these here. Got a lot of wood chips to kind of work through till we get down here, and I don't know if this will pull up as easy as it did last year in that raised bed, or if we're actually going to have to dig this stuff, but we'll see here. There we go. Got a lot of dirt on there. We also got some turmeric too. Not as big as some of those we grew last year. We got something there. It's kind of hard to tell till we wrench it all off. But we got something there. There might be some more down in there as well. Sometimes it breaks off when you pull it up, but I can't say it's a better harvest than last year, but we'll have something. Maybe some of these other plants will have a little bit more. Maybe it just needs a little more time in the ground. So I went and got the water hose and wrenched this one off so y'all can kind of see what we're working with here. So there's the original piece of turmeric that we planted right there, and then the lighter colored stuff is all the new turmeric that is growing from that little piece that we planted. Now I do wish this was a little bit bigger, but we still got a decent little bit of turmeric right there. Now I can't remember exactly when we harvested our turmeric last year. Seems like it might have been on into December a little bit, because I remember we covered that raised bed several times before we actually harvested it. So it might just be a time thing, might just need more time in the ground. I did read online something that said if you can keep your turmeric going longer into fall, that will significantly increase the eventual harvest that you'll get. So maybe these just need a little more time to get bigger. Now we have had quite a few people asking about some of this, and so my eventual plan is to have some of this on the website probably early next year. Not really sure, you know, what the sizes or quantities will be. I want to take a good bit of that and use it to multiply our plantings, so we can keep multiplying what we've got. We should have enough to put some on the website so that you all out there that want to try growing turmeric can give it a try. Pretty easy to grow, just got to pick a somewhat shaded spot if you have one. So we'll just keep a close eye on this, and hopefully the fall weather will cooperate and allow it to keep growing and growing. And when we do eventually harvest it all, I'll be sure to show you guys that process and show you what we end up getting. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Nice to get some stuff harvested before this rain comes through here. Now it could end up being nothing, it could end up being a little sprinkle, but they're acting like it's going to rain pretty hard here, at least for the next day and a half. So hard that it might be hard to get out here and pick some stuff without getting soaking wet. So that's why we went ahead and got a couple days worth of groceries from the backyard grocery store, and when it's raining we'll be inside enjoying some greens. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put links in the description below to any of the products we talked about or used in this video. We also have links to all our affiliate partners and coupon codes for some of those companies, so you can take advantage of those discounts. Don't forget to go check out our website, lazydogfarm.com, where we've got our garden blog, recipes, hats, shirts, all kind of good stuff over there. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification button, like, and share, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.
Oh, farewell, by the beauty of your life.